points and to meet those pain points so that you can have a more enjoyable creative process. Okay, and we did just that, and I think that by doing that we stand apart from other I/O devices. So let me start, before I tell you what else we saw and what hole we filled, let me start by talking about a little bit about how we start consuming our media today. Blu-ray player sales. I mean, this is definitely one way we're consuming our media. Our movies are being played back on Blu-ray discs. In fact, if you take a look at the just Blu-ray player sales from 2007, which were relatively inexistent, to projected sales in 2009 surpassing 4 million, it's safe to say that the Blu-ray players are something that is an increasing trend and won't go away. The Blu-ray media sales. I mean, we've actually tracked this, and again, from 2007, which effectively was hardly anything to register on the radar, to over 80 million titles being available. Again, a growing trend. In a short period of time, you can just see that this is basically a spike, an exponential growth that will not stop anytime soon. I mean, you know, we're consuming our media quite differently. Apple TV, devices like the Apple TV are going to be part of our home entertainment system. If you look at the Apple TV sales, they grew year over year over 300%. All these things have a common denominator, um, you know, and we'll get to that. The mobile devices, you know, I've been traveling, talking about our new technology quite a lot, and a lot of times where I get into the airplane, I now start counting how many people have, whether it be an iPod, an iPhone, and you know, Sony PSP. These are things that people are choosing to use to consume their media. And again, whether it be Blu-ray players, mobile devices, or even the web, they all have a common denominator. And you know, the web is something that is also a way we consume our media. My boys are basically asking me to watch their cartoons on YouTube. They're not asking me to watch their cartoons on the TV anymore. And it's really the way, as telling sign of how we are consuming our media is changing. And this means to you as a creative professional, you need to deliver your projects in a very different way. And again, one of the common denominators throughout the process that I just talked about, whether it be Blu-ray, whether it be the mobile devices or web, they all have something in common. And that something is today's premium codec. Everybody needs H.264 in order to deliver to the way that your customers will consume the media. Okay, there is hands down, H.264 has won in terms of its ability to give you the highest quality at the smallest footprint. Okay, now as a creative professional, knowing that you have to deliver and knowing that you have to deliver at H.264, you have to know what the hurdles are. And there are some really important hurdles for you to be aware of. If anybody has ever tried to encode H.264, you know that the biggest obstacle is encoding time. It's brutal. I mean, for somebody that, you know, another part, I didn't put it in the beginning, but one of the quadrants of editing process is meeting deadlines. And encoding time is a lot of times comes into you know, play. If you want to sacrifice, or if you want to minimize, I should say, your encoding time, you can sacrifice in quality, or you can think about sacrificing quality, but your customers will never allow you to do that. So to get top quality and without spending a lifetime encoding, you know, a lot of people are looking at, you know, what will it cost me? As a hardware manufacturer, we looked at this and said, well, if there's a way for us to minimize the encoding time and maximize or give absolutely no compromise to our customers in terms of the quality at a price point which makes it a no-brainer, I think we have something that makes us stand out as a hardware manufacturer. So at this point, I want you to see the problem. I want you to see the problem we saw and that we were able to fill. So at this point, I'm going to just go to compressor. So I'm going to launch compressor. Before I do, I just want to check that I am deactivated. I am. So I want to basically have you picture that at this point in time you've just finished your project and you have a deadline to meet and you are going to have to deliver this project to an iPhone, for example. So what I'm going to do is we're going to add a file. Okay, the file I'm going to add is this church file, or if I can spell it would say church, but it says church. Um, and I'm going to ask for it to be delivered to an iPod video. Okay, 640-480 iPod video. So just drag and drop that preset, and I'm going to target the destination to my desktop, and we're going to call this CPU. Okay, so I'm basically just going to call it CPU to distinguish what the CPU is doing. Okay, so I'm going to submit, call the CPU, and submit. So effectively what I've done now is I've taken that project, and I'll show you in a second what that project was, where you started from, and I asked it to create a iPod video. So if I look at the batch monitor, okay, on this computer, the active jobs, you see the CPU, and this is basically where I want you to focus. You know, this is what you as a creative professional will be staring at once you're done, and hoping to God that that is done ASAP because the FedEx guy or because the client is waiting for this file on the other end to make some crucial decisions. Now this is a 30-second clip that I started with, and you see we just crossed the 30-second mark. So already we've wasted the real time. So if it's a real project, for example, whether it be an hour project, you've already waited an hour, and we're nowhere near the net in terms of finishing this job. So I want to basically just hide this for a second and go and show you what the original file was. So I'm going to get information here. The original file was this church movie, was 807 megabytes on your disk. It was a 1920 1080 file. Apple ProRes 422, and the duration was 30 seconds. So it's just a 30-second clip that I put on there to be created as an iPod. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the batch monitor and take a look at what we're doing. So it's a minute and 28 seconds. I'm going to flip back. I'll let this cook in the back, and I'll let this go back to the keynote. So that's the problem. Okay, I'll let that cook in the back. Now, what did we do as Matrox to meet the needs of this problem, to fill this pain point? Well, we introduced the Matrox MAX technology at NAB this year quite proudly, and it is no doubt being received extremely well in the market, and something that's making our I/O devices stand out. What it really is, it's faster than real-time H.264 hardware encoding, okay? And it ranges from your iPod video, which is my example just for this demonstration. I'm going to iPod, but I can easily go to full HD, so I can easily do the Blu-ray encoding, okay? The beauty about the MAX technology, it's specialized dedicated hardware processing. So we're basically alleviating the system and liberating its resources so that you can continue doing a lot more tasks with it. We're taking the heavy lifting to do the biggest crunch, which is the H.264 delivery. Now the key here is that because it's dedicated hardware, we're not compromising the quality one bit. You can dial in, you can tweak the quality settings as you wish, and you're not going to be sacrificing or paying that penalty in time encoded. The highest quality is always there for you at no compromise. Okay. So one of the things that we did when we were looking at whether we had something here or not, we asked our beta teams and the market what a typical job would be. Some people do a 30-second commercial, some people do an hour, 2-hour documentaries, but on average they told us, what, if you basically run a 20-minute project and ask to deliver in various formats, you'll pretty much get the message across. So we did that, and what we did was we took an 8-core Mac Pro and we asked it to create an iPod. It took a 20-minute project, well over 90 minutes. Okay, we did the same thing on the 8-core Mac with a flash file, and it took well over 90 minutes. Now, we asked, again, the 20-minute ProRes, 720 ProRes 422 HQ clip